Hey, my name is Chad. Welcome to this video where we are going to talk about my third PRS match for our local 24 and 25 season. So once again, we've got some good things and we've got some bad things. As you can see, I have a chassis sitting here without the barreled action in it. So we'll talk about that first, and then as we get this put back together, we'll talk about the rest of the match. So overall, I had 37 hits, and I just realized I forgot to write down how many were maximum. I think it was like 59 or 56, somewhere around there. So to start out, we got overnight notification that there was going to be a storm coming through, and all of the forecasts and prediction models were saying that it could hit anywhere from 2 o'clock in the afternoon. The biggest chance was going to be after sundown on Sunday evening. So we weren't too worried about it. I go to bed about 12:30 or so Saturday night and wake up at 4 o'clock and get everything loaded up, ready to go. And I get down there and I'm all happy about it. It's a nice overcast day. It looks like it's just going to be wonderful. Maybe max 10-mile-an-hour winds. So it was off to a very, very good start. Everybody kind of gets in and we start getting set up, and come around 9 o'clock as we start the first stage. Everybody's going through. By the time we get to me, I'm starting to notice a couple sprinkles, and then by the end of that first stage, it was just a pretty steady sprinkle. And it ended up being a light to heavy sprinkle pretty much the entire time. Of course, until after the match when we loaded everything up and we're just talking afterwards, then it cleared up and was totally fine. But during the actual shooting part of the match, it was mostly a pretty heavy sprinkle. One thing, I will roll in some footage from the trigger cam. I just transferred the files before I came out here, and I saw that I've only got 3 saved instead of 6. So unless I kept it on and it recorded an extended period of time, I may not have properly started the recording, and there's a good chance that I missed 3 out of the 6 stages. So some overall results. First place had 49 hits. Second had 44. They both had some pretty good days. Dusty, he got 39, and I was right behind him with 37. And what gets me, I had one stage that I did poorly on, and as I thought through it, I'm pretty sure I know what my error was there. And then I had one stage that I had like a fumble at the beginning of it, and that kind of threw me off mentally, and I wasted time figuring out what I did wrong and trying to get back on target. And it was one that you have to dial a lot in between shots, and I just ran out of time. So it would have been a 10-point stage. I only got 6 shots off, but I got 5 hits on it. So, 2 stages I did what I would consider poor. I'll say I did okay, but I should have done quite a bit better, just based on the skill that I know I have. So to start off, after the match, I pulled my action out of the chassis just to get it dried off in there. And of course I was sitting on one side, and today looking at the other side, I noticed I missed drying the water off of a few screws and bolts, and there was a little bit of rust on luckily just a few bolt heads and one little part of the chassis. So hit that with some oil before I brought it out here, but it looks like it is good and dry now. So I'm going to drop the action back in, and we probably won't show that because YouTube likes to be fun, but it's just tightening 2 bolts, so I don't know what their problem is. But we'll get that done, and then as I put on my couple of other little accessories, I'll tell you about how the rest of the match went. Okay, so we got the action back in the chassis, and once again, I'm out on my front porch. It's kind of turned into a nice evening. I wanted to get outside of the house. What happened overnight, we did end up getting a little over 2 inches of rain again on top of the 7.5 from the last 2 weeks. So, I mean, this is wild. We're pushing 10 inches of rain in November in Oklahoma, especially my area of Oklahoma. This is, I can never remember this much rain before. We had 2 tornadoes last night, and I was out so cold I did not hear any alerts or warnings or anything. But over by Duke, or over by Gould. So actually where one of our ranges is, actually the location where we'll be doing the next round in December. They had a tornado pretty close to there, and then we had one up about 35 miles north of us, had another tornado. So it was a eventful night, but thankfully all we got here was rain. So once again, I can't get down to my own range area to do this out in my spot. Okay, so to get started, we decided to start with the prone stages. So we all got down into position and found the targets and got our kind of game plan for the stage. And my turn comes up. On all the prone stages, we started, holding our rifle back, whatever we're going to be using, and call time and jump down and get settled and started. So the first one was the spinner stage, and I'm right off the bat thinking, oh, here we go. This is going to be a bad match because I still can't get the spinner to spin. That is definitely something I'm noticing shooting a 6mm 108. I don't have enough oomph when I hit the spinner at, I believe, 350 yards that I can get it to actually spin over without being, on the timing perfect. And I just need to practice that more. I have a spinner at home, so that is going to be one of my winter projects, is going to be getting that figured out. So as I get started, I'm taking my shots and I'm getting some good movement on it. And then I would miss one and lose the momentum. Anyways, by the time I got to my last shot, I got the spinner to come almost all the way up. And if I could have taken one more shot and hit it on the bottom, I could have got it to flip over. But it was my last shot for the stage. So I was out and I scored the maximum 6 points is all that you can score on that stage if you don't spin the spinner and move on to the next one. Oops, hit the button there. I think I got a few more hits than that. I believe 7. I believe they said I got 7 hits on that, but the most you can score is 6 if you don't get it to spin, so that you can move on to the 600-yard target for the final 4 possible points on that stage. So I scored the max I could without getting the spinner to actually spin. So, I'm like, all right, I'm at least not too far behind. I can, catch up on some other stages. So we go to the next stage, and it is called the long and short of it. This is where we shoot at the pretty much the shortest target. There is that's kind of in the line. There's a 4, 5, 6, and 800-yard little 2 and 3 target rack set up. So at the 400-yard rack, and then the second shot is at the 1,050-yard target. So you're going very close to very far, very close to very far. I believe my turret adjustments, I want to say I was 1.5, 1.6 for the first one, and then 8.1 or 8.9 for the second one. So the problem with this one is, you take your shot and then you've got to go, we'll just say 8.1, take your shot, boom, find target, take your shot, boom, find your target, take your shot. So you're spending a lot of time spinning on your turret. And what I discovered is that is one thing that actually cost me a little bit on that stage. I also made just a stupid mistake at the beginning. So I was standing up and went and turned on this camera that I'm filming this with, and then I made sure, I think I got my trigger cam turned on, at least what I thought. I'm hoping it was turned on. We'll find out which 3 stages I recorded soon, but got that on, and then got my bag, got everything, and I thought I was ready to go, and they said time starts now. Boom, I jumped down, find the first target, get on there, close the bolt, and I'm like, man, that felt really, really easy. Look down and I forgot my mag. So I had it on my pouch on my belt. So I pulled that off and slam it in and run the bolt again and finally take my shot and got a hit. But I'd wasted, I think, almost half of the first minute of the time, or maybe minute 10, minute 15 seconds is all I had left by the time I got my first shot off. So then I'm dialing and dialing, go out to 1,050. I think I missed that one. Then I come back down to 400, got that hit, go back, got that hit, come back, got that hit. I took a total of 6 shots and got 5 hits. So I just ran out of time on that stage. And that was from making a stupid mistake, not putting my mag in right before, you know, when they say, "Are you ready?" And I said yes, but I was not. So that's the first time I've ever done that. So now I'll be a lot more aware of that going forward. So at this point, I was kind of bummed out with myself. The next stage is the chaos, where we've got 375, 475, and 575. So you go 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3. It's on a 60-second time limit. So you've got half the time of a normal stage, and you have to hit to move on. You're supposed to only hit 7 targets, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So start at the closest, go to farthest, closest, back to the farthest, only hitting 1 time. And if you get all the way through it, however many rounds you have left unfired, count as bonus points. So that is, if you clean run it, get 7 shots, 7 hits, and then you'll have 3 rounds left, you would get those 3 points to score a maximum of 10 for the stage on 7 hits. So at this point, the wind was pretty consistent, and I saw my Kestrel, it was 0.2 for pretty much everything on there. And I've been wanting to try using reticle holds, and I saw that it was close enough. Like, I think it was, first one was 1.3, the second was 2.1, and the third was 2.9. So I was like, well, that's kind of easy. I can put the 1 line at the top of the target. That'll put the 1.3 pretty close to the middle. I can go with the 2 line and go, you know, just above the middle of the line of the target, and I should be pretty close to 2.1. And then at the third target, I can take the 3 and go just below the middle of the target, and I'll be right at 2.9. So that was my idea. I was like, well, I've had a bad stage. I'm going to try and see if I can get this reticle hold process down. I've never even tried it. So my first attempt at it was on the clock. So they call time. I jump down, get set up, get to the first target, and I let out a big breath and just completely fogged up my scope. So that's another thing that was tricky about this one, with the way the moisture was, and you know, your body's warm but it's cool outside. There's a lot of fog and condensation coming out of my mouth, and I just exhaled right onto my lens and totally fogged it up. You know, I didn't want to wipe it off and make streaks, so I just waited for a second, gave it a moment to clear up just enough, and as soon as I could see that I was in line with the one hash mark at the top of the target, boom, I broke the shot. And then I got a hit, so I kept going, and I got hit. I ran it clean after that. So I'm trying to remember, I think it might be my first time to run a complete clean stage, and it's one of the trickier stages, at least so far as running fast. So I was very, very happy with that, and I hopped up, and yeah, I was pumped. So that takes care of all the prone stages. Okay, we'll change angles here. I've got to try and get my little activator switch reinstalled. I've got this set up with like a cable management holder to keep everything kind of tucked up close to here. I tried to leave it all attached, but I may have to undo some of this so I can get enough slack to get these M-locks into place. But while I tinker with this, I will tell you all about the next 3 stages, which were our positional ones. So we started off with a new one for this stage. It was called the rooftop and barrels. We had a barrel on the left, a little rooftop, and then a barrel down on its side on the right. When you start, you run up and get on the upright barrel and take 2 shots at the 400-yard IPSC target. Then you hop onto the roof and take 1 shot each at the 400, 500, and 600-yard IPSC targets. Then you hop up, go to the laid down barrel, get in place, take 2 shots at the 500-yard IPSC, and then move back to the roof and do 4, 5, and 6 1 shot each on those for a total of 10. So This brings up another one of my errors. What I have been doing with my Kestrel to try and keep it as out of my hands as possible, I'm running it in sectors, so I'm taking wind readings for all the targets inputs at one time. And what I would do is hit capture, and then I would go reload my mag, do something like that, and then come back and it's, collected wind data for the last couple moments, and hit end and apply it all, and then jot down my numbers and get up and run the stage. So what I think happened here is the wind picked up a little bit while I was down on my knees reloading my magazine, and I didn't really pay that close attention to it. So when it was giving me wind readings of 0.4 to 0.6, and all the previous stages were 0 to 0.2 at the most, I should have double checked myself and verified, but I had been getting good hits before, so I was like, all right, we'll just run it. So I get up and I'm missing, and I couldn't see exactly where I was hitting, so I started trying a couple different things, and I was just kind of got in my head at that point, and I just did a bad stage there. And I'm pretty sure my wind was off, and I forgot to get my arm bag or my underarm bag to support my hand that was floating around out here. And so I was a little wobblier than I preferred to have been, and that's totally on me. So out of the 10 there, I only got 2. That was my absolute worst stage of the day. But another thing, I should have paid more attention to the wind and verified that I wasn't writing down, a short period of high winds and then not accounting when it calmed down and was closer to how it had been for the majority of the day. Another thing that I need to learn and get better on. Like I said, wind is going to be my forever nemesis until I get this down. So next we move over to the rooftop, and this is one that we did at the last match for the 23-24 season. And there you pick a spot on the rooftop prop, and there's a left row of targets and then a right row. You go one shot each at the left, 250, 310, 380, move over to the right, start at the 395, come back forward to the 300, then go to the far on the left side, so out to the 380, back to the 310, and back to the 250. So that's an 8-shot stage and a 2-minute time limit, so you're only taking 1 shot per target. So this one, I got my bag under my arm, and I realized I was too wobbly from this little roof prop on the previous stage. I realized I had forgot something and got set up a little bit better that time and paid closer attention to the wind reading I was taking, and the numbers looked a lot more reasonable. So boom, call time, I get set up on the prop and get situated and close bolt, boom, first shot, got a hit. I'm like, all right, here we go. And click up to the next one, boom, hit. Go to the next, boom, hit. Move to the other side, boom, hit. Come in, boom, hit. Go back to the far one, boom, hit. Boom, hit. Boom, hit. What? I just had 2 clean stages in one match. So I went 8 for 8 on that one and totally smoked it. I might have been the only one to do that one perfect also. So I'd have to go check. So, I mean, when I was good on a stage, I was really, really doing good. I was very, very, very happy with what I did on that particular stage, just because of the problems that I have had with, getting stable and wind and everything else. That was a huge, huge relief to be able to finally knock out a stage completely clean and, do pretty much a perfect performance. So, yep, I was pretty pumped there. And now for the last stage. So this was the barrel stage, which we pretty much run this one every time we are at this range. So I had an idea, and I knew what was going to happen for this one. This is the one that I have been struggling with getting a good position for my bipod and trying to get that all figured out. So before the stage started, this is when the rain decided it would actually come a raining instead of just a sprinkle. Okay, we're going to see if I can kind of describe this better. So I got down on the ground and realized that it was, I mean, the mats were soaked. I had to extend my bipod out quite a bit to be able to get enough height to get to the first target with my bag underneath. So got that all set. I'm prepared. I know what my plan is to move to the next barrels and then drop back down to the final prone position. So to run this, you've got to start standing up and then jump on the ground, and you're going for a 395 target from prone, and then jump up to down on the side barrel, take 2 shots at 300, upright barrel, 2 shots at 300, then back down prone again for 2 shots back at the 395. They call time, and it's pouring at this point. I get down and get in position, find the 395, and boom, boom, got my 2 hits. I jump up. My plan is, I'm thinking, with my new bag, I've got a little more height. So as I'm picking my rifle up, I go ahead and reach out and throw my bipod leg up just on the one side, and then move into position, put my bag down, drop it, and had to scooch a little to get into position. And I get to the 300, and right as I'm about to break my first shot, somebody told a kind of funny joke behind me, and I giggled right as I was putting final pressure on the trigger and went just over the top of the target. I moved just enough to throw that shot off, so I'm frustrated. Run the bolt, get back on, and boom, got my hit on the second one. Then I jump up to the barrel, put my bag in place, and got right on the edge of the barrel, and got down, and my bipod, everything worked the way that I had imagined it should. So I think I was more excited about that. I didn't think to get real good and stable, and I missed one of those shots and got one of them. I can't remember if it was the first or second, but one out of those 2 I missed and one I hit on. And then I take my bag, drop it down, reach up, throw my bipod leg back out, and hop down and get into position, find the 395. There's waters flying up from it was just kind of miserable at that point, but got on and got my 2 hits at 395, and I'm all excited about it. So some of my ideas worked, and some of them I just made some stupid errors and cost me several points. Hey, do me a favor. If you like to come out and work on your rifle on your front porch just to freak out all the passing traffic, go ahead and get subscribed right down below, because you'll fit in real good here with me. We like to do kind of funky things like this. So I've kind of mathed a few things up. So there was a maximum score of 56. So, my buddy Mark, he had 49. He had a really good match. And then the second place guy had 44. He also had a really good match. And then 39, he finished a little bit ahead of me. So overall finish, I know I could have done better, but I made two errors that cost me quite a few points, and I didn't work through them in a good way on the clock. So looking at some of the percentages, so with my score of 37 out of the maximum score of 56, I got about 66% of the maximum score. So, I'm better than 50% of the score. I'm getting a majority of the points. So I'm getting there. I want to get up to 70 and 80% before I feel real confident to try something bigger match-wise, but we'll take it. So far as shots taken, I know I had at least 5. There's maybe 6 shots that I didn't take, but we'll say I left 5 unfired shots, so 51 shots taken. That would put me at a 72% hit percentage. So, I'm doing pretty decent. I still need to get that up to 85, 90% to be really higher end on a PRS competitor level. But for still being fairly new to it and taking into account the mistakes that I made, I can deal with that. So typically, if I was on, I was 50% or better on most of the stages. So 6 out of 10, 5 out of 10, and that was a bad one. 10 out of 10 points, which was 7 out of 7 hits, but 6 out of 8 and 8 out of 8, and then the terrible 2 out of 10. So it seems like I can't get over having at least one stage in each of these matches that I just totally bomb and barely make any score on. So until I can get, over that hump and get to where I'm getting at least 50 to 60% of the score on each stage, I'm going to still keep being in the same position. I'm hoping that as the weather hopefully dries up here over these next few weeks, I'm going to be able to get out. I really do want to set up some wind flags and just visually see how the wind behaves differently. I was talking to somebody at the match who was spotting at that tire stage from the previous match where I just missed everything and had a 0. He said almost everybody was off to the same side, and he's pretty sure that the wind where we were feeling and taking our readings was behaving quite a bit differently than how it was behaving down at the target, and that's what was throwing off. He said almost everybody was off on the right side while he was spotting, so we were all getting similar bad wind readings, but that's something I need to learn how to figure out on the clock and be able to know how to make the adjustment without thinking about it, and be able to do it, get it done, and start getting hits again. Well, I think that's going to do it for this video. I do have my MGM KYL rack came in. I'm going to pull it out and start getting it assembled right here this evening under my porch. So hopefully next weekend, depending on how it dries through the week here, I'll be able to start working with my skid steer. I'm going to build up a backstop, get it set up at 500 yards. Ooh, let me know down in the comments. Here's a question I need y'all to answer. So it's going to be a KYL rack with targets at 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, and 2, I believe. I'd have to go back and look, but look at the Eric Cortina Blackjack Challenge videos, and that'll show the sizes. It's either that or it's 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. So I'm going to have this rack. Do I put the 500 yards? I'll be shooting at a little bit of an angle to it. So do I want the 500 yards at the middle target, 500 yards at the smallest target, which is the trick of the competition, or 500 yards at the beginning target? I mean, I figure it's only going to be maybe a 1.5 yard difference from one side to the other, but should I just center it? Should I focus on the smaller target and try to get it right at 500, or just get close and call it good and stop worrying so much about little things like a yard to 1.5 yard difference? So I don't know. Let me know what you think down in the comments here. While you're down there, please let me know what you thought of my match. I'm sorry, I don't think I got all good footage through my trigger cam, but I'm pretty sure that was me just pushing the buttons in the wrong order and not paying attention to it. After the one stage where I fumbled with my mag, I was more worried about making sure my rifle was good instead of camera being on. So I think I got footage from behind me on each of the stages, so you'll have seen that rolled in here. So that was it for this one. Third match of the season is in the books. Our next one will be going back to the location where we had the first match. That's going to be in December. Hopefully we get some decent weather and have some semi-warm days. I really am not looking forward to these next 2 to 3 matches where my fingers are going to be super cold, but that's part of it. I've got to learn how to deal with it and work through that. So thank you very much for hanging out with me for a few minutes here. I really do appreciate it. I do hope you have a great rest of your day and a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.